So my name is Shane Blum. I'm an associate professor in the Department of Hospitality and Retail Management at Texas Tech University. So my focus areas of research are mostly it's organizational behavior, which essentially is how do employees behave in the workplace. So I look a lot at employee motivation, job satisfaction, organizational commitment, and like intentions to turnover. So a lot of those things I do with hotel employees, but a lot of that can be translated to work with employees in restaurants or country clubs, event venues, pretty much anything that's a service industry. And for example, one of the projects I'm working on right now, we're looking at resort employees. Another area I look at is organizational behavior, but also different groups of people. So I've looked at millennials in the hotel industry, I've looked at seniors in the hotel industry, and the resort project is actually looking at J1 visa employees who are from different countries working in resorts in the United States. So one good example of how my research can impact the hospitality profession is that I worked with a doctoral student and some other faculty on a housekeeping tipping research project. So we went into a hotel and we had different greeting cards that were from the housekeepers, and some were just kind of basic, informative, some had like a little joke, some were personal, and said, thank you very much, and then they had a little bit of information about like what the American Hotel Lodging Association says you're supposed to tip housekeepers, because kind of the problem with tipping and housekeeping is a lot of people don't even think about it or even know you're supposed to tip your housekeepers. So we did this study, and it actually was kind of interesting because the one that was a personal card, at the bottom it said that it was from Emily, but there was no Emily on the housekeeping staff, but it was just for our research. And funny, some people would come down to the front desk and want to give Emily a tip, so that actually worked out pretty well. But that research went over really well. We actually found out that the personal one was affected tipping the most, that people felt like they were actually giving money to Emily and that it wasn't going to the hotel. And that article was pretty well received, and actually I got a call from somebody who was doing an article on tipping housekeepers from the New York Times, and I was actually quoted in the New York Times about tipping housekeepers. So that was a good application of our research in the hospitality profession. So the main course I teach at the undergraduate level is leadership in the services industry, and I teach that to graduating seniors, and so I try to prepare them for their first job as a manager. So a lot of the things we do in that class is we talk about people and how people behave, but then also to translate into how people who are employees behave in a workplace. So we talk about a lot of the things that I do research on. We talk about motivation, we talk about satisfaction, we talk about other topics like communication, leadership, and a variety of topics that relate to dealing with people. So since that course and my research are so connected, it's really easy for me when I find something out through my research about employee job satisfaction, I can talk about it in class and tell the class, hey, this is what's really happening out there in the workplace because I just did this research. And so I can build on the topics in my class by the research that I'm doing out in the field. So research collaboration outside of Texas Tech, I've been here for 22 years. So over those years, I've had dozens of Ph.D. students that have graduated, and now they're faculty members at other institutions in the United States. So I work a lot with them. Several of my most recent publications have been collaborations with those students, whether publishing their dissertation or working on some other research projects. I just got back from a conference in Pomona, California, ran into a bunch of them there, and we talked about research and had some other ideas about some things that we could do, once again, either with their dissertation or some other research areas that they were interested in. So there's quite a web, I guess, of students around the country that have left Texas Tech, and I still continue to stay in touch with and also continue to do research with. So even though I do a lot of things with organization behavior, I've worked with other students that wanted to do something that was a little bit different. So I've done some things in social media, in hotel online reviews. A few students wanted to do things about use the technology acceptance model to look at how, once this was in hotels again, but how employees accept different types of technology. So I've done different things with different students. So I guess the main thing is that I'll try to help students as much as I can. It doesn't have to be just in my field of expertise. So I work with graduate students quite a bit. I don't currently have a grant that supports a graduate student, but I do have a teaching assistantship position that I work with those students on their research. And currently I'm the chairperson of 2 doctoral dissertations, and in the last year I just had 5 doctoral students graduate. So I work a lot with graduate students on their research. And back to what I said earlier about being able to help them, even if it's not my field of expertise. I've been members on committees where I just help with the writing and the general research methodology and things to try to help them gear their research towards their interests.